Hey everybody, it's 5:37 in the morning. Oh, my watch just blinked out. Anyway, 5:37. There you go. I'm just up for another miracle morning this morning, and also just another daily lasagna. Basically, just jumping in and talking about some of the things that we've got going on. Um, so as I mentioned last week, we got all caught up on all of the podcasts, so they all should be coming out on time this week. Which is exciting. I actually have a guy named Zach that jumped in and did an extra episode for me, so I'm super happy about that. Um, and yeah, just trying to get the next set of themes rolling here. Today is probably going to be mostly focused around sponsorships for work, and um, and I'm kind of excited to just get things going there. Um, for those of you who are kind of new to this or don't know a whole lot about how the podcasting and things work, essentially the way that I get paid, because I've been doing the podcasting full time because I line up most of the guests and set up the conferences and all that stuff, pay for the production. Um, I also get paid for my time essentially by pulling together the sponsorships and things like that for the conferences. So, or conferences and podcasts. So yeah, so I'm reaching out right now to see if I can find some more sponsors. Um, I have Ruby Rogues fully sponsored, and so I'm probably going to be pushing people who want to reach that audience to support my Ruby story, and then try and see if I can fill up JavaScript Jabber and Adventures in Angular, since those are the bigger shows. I do have a couple of sponsors for Freelancer Show, and so I'm looking forward to doing that as well. One other thing that I'm going to be doing, I need to grab it. So every year for CES, they give you a backpack. Now, usually the backpacks have been pretty nice, laptop bags with a bunch of pockets and stuff with them. Um, Last year they gave us this. So it's a see-through bag. The idea is that you can take it through security at the airport without um, opening it up, because I can just see right through it. Anyway, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got a bunch of receipts from CES, but I've also got a bunch of business cards. And so I'm going to go through that. I know it's been about 6 or 7 months since CES, but I'm going to reach out to those folks and basically say, A, are you going back this year? And B, um, can we talk about sponsorship? Because some of those companies have hardware or other things that are going to be interesting to developers. So that should be cool. And then yeah, just reaching out. I tend to reach out to people over LinkedIn, and I'm probably going to be reaching out to people who are on the list of sponsors and exhibitors for VMworld, since I'm going to be going to that at the end of the month. Done a lot of thinking about it, praying about it, and I'm going to do that. I'm also considering going to podcast movement, and while I'm there, I'm seriously thinking about pulling together like a tech podcasters meetup and just meeting with as many people as I can, because I really feel like the other place that I can branch out into and kind of expand my reach is by getting a hold of tech podcasters and helping them find sponsors, since I seem to be getting contacts more and more often now, both through LinkedIn and other ways to get the sponsors. And so if they want to reach a JavaScript audience and a Ruby audience, they can go through me. And then if they want to reach like general development audiences and learning and things like that, then I can probably hook them up with other folks. And so I don't see why I shouldn't, um, since I offer a wide variety of things for the sponsors, why I shouldn't widen that variety, and that way I can get a variety of sponsors for a variety of shows. I'm also this week hoping to get the Kickstarter together for the React podcast, and that would be really cool. And then I'm hoping also to get an extra episode of Ruby Rogues recorded, and I'm probably going to push to get an extra episode of Adventures in Angular recorded as well, since those shows are currently recording on Tuesday or Wednesday and releasing the next Tuesday. And I'd like to get at least 2 weeks ahead on that, and that way um, I can record this week, and then we can hopefully get caught up, or not caught up. We can get ahead on the editing, so that the shows are being edited 2 weeks in advance, and then the show notes have are done a week in advance, and that way things are just ready to go right out of the gate, and then we can pull the trigger. And then finally, on Friday, I talked to a recent boot camp grad from one of the local boot camps. If you listen to Ruby Rogues, he's a student at Bottega, which is a boot camp that Justin or Jordan Hudgens that we had on the show um, is one of the instructors at, and he does a lot of the curriculum work. And so anyway, he introduced me to this guy, and I'm hoping that he can also help us get some of our social media together. That way, we can give you even more great stuff. So you can subscribe to our this is our YouTube channel, but you can also subscribe to um, our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter, and you can get a whole bunch of great content. I think that would also be very beneficial. And then finally, and I know I'm kind of dumping a whole bunch of stuff because I've had a whole weekend to think about things. Um, I've been I've been listening to an ebook, and it was funny. I listened to pretty much the whole thing in one day because it was that good. It's called "The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind," um, and yeah. Anyway, one of the things that he talks about in there, and I'm really kind of changing the way that I approach things based on this book. But one thing he said that really struck me is if you know something, then you live it. And boy, that really struck home because there are things that I know or feel like I know, but then yeah, when it comes right down to it, I don't actually act very consistently um, with the things that I know, and so I've decided that if I know something, I am going to act on it. And so I've been cutting back on the time I spend playing these dumb games on my iPhone. I'm probably going to listen less to the political podcasts and some of the other podcasts that I listen to, and try and just focus on getting more things done, because I know that if I play music and things like that, different types of music, then I can get in the zone and really get more done. But if I'm listening to a podcast, then it does tend to distract me some. Um, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna, doesn't mean I'm not gonna listen to them. I'm just not going to listen to them while I work. And then I'm also going to be more disciplined. I don't have a problem taking breaks, and I know that that's healthy, but I tend to pick up my iPad or my iPhone way too often to play these dumb games, and they're not getting me anything, and I know that as well. So it's just a matter of, okay, I know that these things are distracting me, or I know these things are making it hard for me to work, and so I'm going to cut them back, and do the work as I know that I need to do it, and do the kind of work that I know I need to do. And so anyway, that's kind of the focus. And then I believe I'm going to start doing different focuses for each day. At least Monday, since I have some things that I consistently need to treat, like sponsorships. I constantly need to be looking for new sponsors. I'm going to focus that for Monday. And then Tuesday, I usually record Ruby Rogues and JavaScript Jabber. And Wednesday, we do Adventures in Angular. And then also on Mondays and Wednesdays, I wind up doing the my Ruby story, my Angular story, and my um, JavaScript story. And so I'm, between those, Monday through Wednesday are probably going to just kind of be hectic, because those are also the days that I allow people to schedule calls for sponsorships. But anyway, I'm going to put the focus Thursday and Friday on some project. So this week it's going to be on my how to get a job course. I'm going to see if I can wrap that up. Um, Part of that course is one of the freebies that I gave away for newbie remote comp. Um, People who bought a ticket during a week that I ran a promotion, so I need to get that out to them. And I just things keep coming up, and I just haven't been able to finish it. So I'm hoping to just buckle down and do it. Um, and then yeah, just all the other things that I have going on with the school board. We have a board meeting on Thursday, um, and Toastmasters. I have a few things to update on the website for that. So just making sure that I get those kinds of things scheduled into my schedule because these kinds of service are important to me. Um, some of the service that I do for Boy Scouts as well. So it's just a matter of making things a priority, and it doesn't mean that one thing is necessarily always a priority over the other. But if I prioritize things and say, look, today is sponsorship stuff, and that's all I'm doing, that's a different thing than, um, so that I can focus on other things during the week. It just makes things a whole lot easier. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and I'm gonna go get my gym clothes on so I can go for a quick walk or run. Um, but yeah, so you kind of got me rambling this morning on Daily Lasagna, and I'll be back tomorrow.